Well, hi everybody, it's Sandy Allnock here with another video for you. This is a first birthday card, or could be a new baby card, or just something for a young child. And it's in celebration of Pretty Pink Posh's first birthday. Really excited for them and happy to participate in this blog hop. And very thrilled to know Paulina. This is Paulina and I at our LSS Impress in Tukwila, Washington. She's the cute one on the left. So let me get started by showing you a card that I'm doing a takeoff on. This is an old onesie that I made back in 2013, and I wanted to simplify it and make it work for a little older child because I have some kids in my life who are turning 1 or other ages in the bib category of life. So I thought I'd make some of these cards and have them ready for those birthdays this year. Now, I'm going to be using these brand new Pretty Pink Posh dies. Oh my gosh, so fun. The one in the top, in my left hand, this is called Stitch Duo 3, and it's got the squares as well as the frame on the outside, and I have a million possibilities in my head for those, as well as this little guy, and this one's going to be a whole lot of fun too, and it's called the Pocket Border Die. And I'm just looking at it different directions and thinking of everything I could possibly do with it, and very excited about that one as well. So I'm going to use both of those dies, and we're going to go for the Honey Bunny set from Mama Elephant with these little bunnies in it. It's also got an Easter sentiment if you're thinking toward making your Easter cards already. That's a great one to have on hand. Sequins, of course. I've got a couple inks that I'm not going to use all of, but got them out. I had some Copic markers and a water brush filled with colorless blender solution, and either a circle punch or a circle die for this card. And there's going to be other stuff along the way because I just kept grabbing supplies as I was working, so you know how that goes. So I'm back with my lightning fast die cutting. I have the outside piece from the Stitch Duo all done, and I am ready to add the other die to it, the pocket border. And I'm going to place that on the top edge, and you can decide whether you want a short bib or a tall bib, and that can be based on what size sentiment or image you have to put onto your little bib. And I'm going to tape it down with some washi tape. You would think I would actually use washi tape on cards, but I tend to use it just as a general crafting supply as opposed to a creative element on my cards. The magical appearance of the Honey Bunny set. Love the magic of video. I'm going to use the bunny with the floppy ears. I've got him on my block, and I'm going to use Memento inks for this. This is Bahama blue, and Memento inks are Copic friendly, so it won't bleed when I do my Copic coloring. So I'm just getting my little bunny all centered up on here and get him stamped, and now we'll get ready to do the coloring. And I'm going to use a watercolor technique that I've shown before. There's going to be links at the end of this video so you can watch more Copic watercoloring. Long little earthquake here. Sorry about that. When I touch my camera, things just start to wiggle. This is my aqua brush, and it has the blender solution in it. It has tape on it, just like my markers do, and that's not for any reason other than marking them as mine. For the water brush, it tells me that it's got this various ink colorless blender in it instead of water, so I use it correctly when I have a number of water brushes in my collection. So I want to grab the Copic one when I'm using my Copic markers. So I'm going to pick up some color that I've scribbled onto my craft mat, and this is a B05. If you know your markers well, you'll know that B05 is a really strong color. If I were to color it directly on here, it would be the color of the Memento ink. That's how strong it is. But when I'm using it with the water brush, it lightens significantly. So you want to make sure you use really beefy colors when you choose colors to use for this technique, because otherwise they're going to disappear. If I were to use a really pale blue, thinking I wanted a blue wash, I would hardly get anything at all. So I'm just going to color him in. He's going to be a white bunny with just some blue shadows. And now I'll add some RV17. Again, this is another strong color, and I've scribbled off on a piece of scratch paper off to the side there to get the blue off of the water brush. But to lighten the color as I'm painting, I squeeze the brush a little bit harder, and that pulls more colorless blender solution out onto the paper and helps it to both blend and soften as well as lighten. So I'm just adding it on there. You can see that there's like a little gray halo around it, and you're going to watch that disappear as I go. That is the colorless blender solution. It's just the wetness of the paper, but all of this will brighten up as it dries and as that colorless blender solution evaporates out of the paper. So I'm going to add some green. I've added some yellow, and you might wonder why I didn't use Y17, which is my favorite yellow. And it's because Y38 has a little more beef to it, a little more color to it. The Y17 comes out fairly light, and I wanted something with a little bit stronger color. And I'm just kind of working my way through some details on this, adding a little bit more color to other areas. And I added a little bit to his nose, a little bit of that pinkish color, and had to go back with just the colorless blender on a clean brush and remove some of that, and just do a few little details, add a little more green into the sky. Just wanted to make some fun colors up there. Nothing realistic, but just scrunching some different colors and layering them over top of each other. So now I wanted to have my little bunny hold something, of course, because she's so cute. So she's going to hold flowers. So I stamped the flowers from the Honey Bunny set, and I'm going to use my multi-matte medium, which I have in this little bottle, and I'll talk about the little bottle in just a moment, to put my adhesive down. This multi-matte medium holds really well. It's very secure and lasts a long time, and I really like it, but I've got it in this other bottle for a reason that I'll explain shortly. But look at these teeny tiny drops of liquid that I can get out of here. These teeny, super tiny dots. The fact that I have to do several dots of adhesive in order to get enough to hold a sequin down, that tells you how tiny it is. I'm using my quick stick tool to try to pick things up and put my sequins in place, and I'm doing some layered sequins, so I have different colors on top of each other to make the little flowers. And once this dries, these are all going to stay in place really well and not come off, which is fabulous. Next, I want to show you the Quilled Creations Precision Tipped Empty Bottle. A lot of you have been asking how I've liked it after having used it for a while. I've had it for a couple months, and I have a number of different liquids in here, but I want to talk about them a little bit. This bottle does jam. I just want to say that because I've been telling you it doesn't jam. It didn't for a while, but I want to tell you about why I'm going to continue using it, even though it does get stuck sometimes. It doesn't get stuck a lot because it's taken me this long to have any issues with any of them. But you can see the needle tip on it comes out, and you can easily just put a pin through it. This is just a sewing pin, and pull anything that's stuck in it outside the other end. And also, since it's metal, if you have a solution that cleans whatever it is that you've had in the bottle, you can soak it in that solution and soften up anything in it. And it's super easy to clean. And the fact that it makes such a tiny dot makes me so happy that I am willing to try to deal with these bottles and the general jamming that they do, because other bottles jam anyway. So why not get at least the benefit of having that tiny nib on it? And you can see, I took it apart so you can see how it's constructed. This can be shoved all the way down inside. There's nothing in the bottle that holds that metal nib in place. It just slides in that plastic. I don't know how many times I can slide it in and out before that plastic starts to leak, but so far after a number of times it hasn't seemed to do anything. So I still love these bottles quite a bit for my glossy accents and my multi-matte medium. So I'm going to continue using them just because of the teeny tiny nib. Now, any bottle that has a nib on it, just tap the bottle itself, get any liquid out of there, and squeeze it till it's only air coming out, and you shouldn't have any problem with any bottle getting goobers stuck in it. So here is my Simon Says stamp doll pink yardstick, apparently. Supposed to be cardstock, but my computer corrected that, and I thought it was so funny I'd leave it. It is cardstock, not a yardstick. But I've folded my 11 by 4 1/4 in half, and I'm marking 3/4 of an inch at the top, right by the fold, for the simple cut for the front. I've recently got this fingertip control craft knife, and I really like it quite a bit, and it just sits right nicely in my hand, and it feels like an extension of my finger, which is good. So I lined up my ruler from that 3/4 inch mark down to the corner, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. So the front panel is just going to be this wedge shape, and the dress part and the shirt part for the little boy card will just be the back of the card. So I'll show you how that works. So I just trimmed those pieces, and take a little pair of scissors, and you can trim straight along the score that you've made, or one of the things that I discovered is that when you have this trimmed right at the score, you end up with this kind of little lip there. So I cut it at an angle and just trimmed it so that it just looks like a little sleeve at an angle rather than perfectly straight, because then you get rid of that score mark. Okay, next for the sleeves, you'll cut into the back of the card, the back panel, at whatever distance you want, however wide you want those sleeves to be. And I'm cutting them at a little bit of an angle. I have my ruler there just to generally measure so they're roughly even, but it doesn't have to be perfectly even. And then I'm going to use the fingertip knife again to cut from the corner down to the place where the sleeve meets the dress. And it's really simple to make a little dress card this way. You don't have to do all the punching of circles and that kind of thing in the legs to make a onesie. So here I'm just going to punch a circle in the neck, and you can make a dress like this without using the bib, but I think the bib is cute. And I've got my tape runner at the top, and I've got a little bit of dimensional adhesive down toward the bottom, and I'm using Power Tabs by Tombow, which if you've watched me for a while, you know I love them. And I decided to take some unicorn ink from Hero Arts and start to decorate the dress just a little bit. There's a lot going on in the bib, so I don't want a whole lot on the dress distracting from it, but I thought little edges to the bottom of the dress and on the sleeves would be nice. And then I'm taking some Lilac Posies Memento ink, and I'm just going to stamp these little bow ties from the Honey Bunny set all over the dress. And it's going to be tone on tone, so it's really soft and it's not going to be super distracting, but it's going to add enough detail to make it feel like a fun little dress. There's a lot of little images in that stamp set that would be great for stuff like that. So on the inside, I'm going to put some Bunny Loves You, but you can put whatever sentiment you want to make it fit whatever occasion you'd like for that little kiddo in your life. And I thought this was a really cute little design that we could do lots of different things with. So here's a close-up of that bib and the coloring and those layered sequins, which are so much fun. And you can see the nice stitching as well on these Pretty Pink Posh dies. Here's the boy card, and I'll tell you some of the adaptations I did for that. Of course, the blue color, and I did a little snip in the bottom of the dress to make it little pants, which I thought was fun. The bib I made taller to accommodate the little bigger stamp, the little guy with his ears up, and he's holding the bubble maker, so I used sequins for the bubbles. And here's a little close-up of using the hats for the pattern on the little outfit, as well as the trimming of that little crotch area to make it little pants. So there you have it. There's my video. I hope you enjoyed this. Here's a couple more watercoloring type things if you want to see more Copic watercoloring. And go follow along with the rest of the blog hop. There's lots to be inspired by, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya. Bye-bye.